everybody, welcome back inside the Stash Project. This is our All Japan Touring Car Championship Series, and we're going to be looking at the 1994 season in this video. So the 1994 season is another season where you can build a large number of the cars that ran. You can, as it stands right now, build, I lost count. Am I saying you got 2, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. So you can build 15 cars as the model kits stand. And the best part about those 15 cars, guys, is they are all box stock. You don't have to add any decals from anywhere else. A couple of these kits you probably need to replace the decals because they're old kits, but that being said, they're still you're just basically replacing the factory bad decals for good ones at this point. Not, oh, you need this base kit and this set of decals, like we were seeing with the GTRs and things like that. If Hasegawa were to create decals for several of the other BMW 318i teams that ran that year, and BMAX was to make the other factory Toyota team that ran, or somebody was to do the other couple Toyota Coronas that ran in 1994, you would be able to build 27 of the 33 entered cars in 1994 JTCC. And when I say, the other cars, there's a Mazda Atlantis, and there's a Isuzu Gemini. Hello, Hasegawa, where's my Gemini JTCC car? And I think there's the HKS Opel is in there, of course, as well. I'm sure anybody's going to run out and make a Opel Cavalier touring car model, but if somebody were. So the way I'm looking at this video in this season is, of course, 1994, we talked about it throughout, is when Japanese touring car adopts FIA Group 2 regulations, which puts it in a sort of a small CC, because the BMWs really have the biggest engines in these cars, and they pretty much run rampant with the championship between them and the Coronas. There's no divisions anymore, I guess is what I'm trying to say. All of these cars are on a level playing field. So this isn't a situation where the Civics are going to be in one group and the Coronas are in another group and the BMWs are the top dogs. I mean, the BMWs, again, and the Coronas really ran head-to-head throughout this entire season in terms of race wins. It doesn't necessarily show up with the information I'm going to tell you because we can't, at the moment, build the other factory Toyota team, which won more races than the actual Toyota team that we can build cars for. I'm assuming there's a licensing thing there. It's why they chose the Toyota Team Toms versus the Toyota Team Tsurumo cars, but be that as it may, can't fix it now. We can only go with what we've been given. But yeah, there would really be only the outliers and, the oddball cars would be the only thing you wouldn't be able to build. Because there is like a team running Corollas, which I don't ever think you're going to see a Corolla touring car made, considering how very, very few people used it. I mean, you're talking about something that is one-dimensionally one size smaller than the Corona, right? It's not the same like Corolla 11 that we saw run earlier. It's a smaller car. So that being said, let's sort of plow into this. We're going to do these sort of kind of out of order, only because of the way that the listings are broken down for the teams. Because the first car we talk about is one of the BMW 318i's. And the reason this car, with its weird team numbering, is listed as first is because whoever put the chart together based it on the fact that in the Intertech race, the last race of the season, the cars ran low single-digit numbers rather than the double-digit numbers they ran during the rest of the year, because they gave up those double-digit numbers to the foreign drivers. And actually, BMW Team Schnitzer didn't use the same drivers in the Intertech either that they had used all year long. So that's the reason why this is first, even though the numbers are higher. So first up, you have the Hasegawa BMW 318i, the first of four of these kits we're going to talk about. This is the Stash T. Let's make a joke about this. This is the Stash car. The Stash. If you just left off the Premium Specialty T, I don't think I could steal that logo because there's probably some sort of rule against that. But you know, it's there. Ah, I got my my Macau Motorola decals in here. I guess that was the next car I was going to build with that. But let's fish out the actual corporate decals, if we will. The decals of the car actually ran in here. And these are done by Cartograph. It's one of the very few Cartograph sets that were run off in these new reissues of the 318i's. You can see you can build the car number 10 or the car number 73. And then I'll give you the option of either Steven Soper or Prince von Baron, Leopold, as your drivers. Now, Leopold didn't win any races, but Mr. Soper, he won 5 races during the year. And that's like, wow, how did he not win the championship? Well, he came in 3rd. The thing you have to consider about this new series, quote-unquote, air quotes new, this new series is the fact that when they went to Fiat 2 regulations, they went to a pair of races per weekend. So there are 9 tracks they visited, 2 races per weekend, one on a Saturday, one on a Sunday. So there were effectively 18 races during the year, 2 rounds per track. So he won 5. It's not even quite half the races. In the old format of just 1 race per 8 tracks, it would have been more than half the races, and he would have won the championship. Steven Soper does win the championship in 1995. However, you can't actually build that car because 1995 is a different aero package, and as of yet, for some reason, Hasegawa has never decided to upgrade this kit with it, which would basically be a new splitter on the front, new skirts here, and a spoiler on the back. Come on, Hasegawa, you're killing me. Let's upgrade this kit just a little bit. You put new suspension components in it to lower the stance of the actual model, to have the wheels tucked up and under, which didn't exist back when these kits were done in the mid-1990s. There are several resin companies out there that offer the conversion to the 95 spec cars. However, none of them fit. Because apparently nobody can make bumpers. I don't know. I don't understand that. But be that as it may, that's your first thing. Now, the next thing we're going to talk about is Team Nismo. Team Nismo ran 2 different cars. So it's not a case of everything being in one box because these are separate kits. And they are highly desirable. Everybody wants one. Nobody wants to spend the money on them because they're looking in the wrong places. Tamiya Primeras. So, Team Calsonic and Team Castrol, basically, are the 2 cars that ran for Team Nismo in general. Now, they did run some Nissan Sunnies later in the year, and the Primeras would go to BTCC in a different conversion later later in life. But the problem that you're going to have with these kits, and it's just the nature of them being made in 1995, is that for the most part, your decals are going to be kind of iffy and kind of shot. So, I picked up, I have 3 of these Primeras. Because I want to do both JTCC cars, and then Frankie does a set that converts the Castrol JTCC car to the car that Hasami Motorsports ran in the Gear Race in Macau in 1994. Frankie does a reboot of these decals. So these replacement decals with this exact livery is available from SK Decals. And then the other car that ran is, of course, the metallic green Castrol car. Now, the biggest problem you had with this Castrol kit for the longest time was there was no way to replace the decals. Your decals were bad, and that's all there is to it. These decals, as you can see through the baggie there, it's just a sea of yellow. Underneath the pure racing, it's all yellow. Everything all the white is not really white anymore. And these are sealed bags, right? So this is one of those examples where like, oh, I got my decals sealed, they're good. No, doesn't necessarily work that way. Especially when you're talking about decals that are 23 years old. The kit is molded in metallic green. If you've never seen the inside of one of these, I know a lot of people probably haven't because the kits are, kind of hard to come by unless you buy them secondhand in Japan. These guys, they ran around a little bit. They won 1 race in the Calsonic Primera. So those kits are Team Nismo. Now, Object T was back, and they're still in their Zippo BP livery. Now they've changed over to a Honda Civic because, hey, the GTRs are gone, can't run that anymore. So this kit, relatively recent Hasegawa reissue, This kit is molded in banana yellow, and then you get basically the green parts of the decal. So there you go. You get the roof decal, a couple side decals, and basically all the green parts are taken care of with the decals. Interesting to see that they did do BP logos on the decals. They didn't just make those clear and transfer down to the underlying color, but that kit is again available. So we'll get you a close up on the side box here, show you the real car as it ran. There she goes, and that's the one thing. These cars are all on a level, so it's not like, oh well, this one oh nope, there is no Division 3 for the Civics anymore. They just are what they are. So next up, and continuing the Civic train, you have Mooncraft, and they're of course back with the Jax livery, and they are running a Fario. So these guys, again, I mean, the Civics did not win any races during the course of the year. The three doors are obviously very dominant in the Division 3 classes, but when you put them up against a inline 5 BMW, nobody was really doing all that particularly well. And then you have the Nakajima Planning, or otherwise known as the PIA livery. So PIA livery makes a comeback after being seen on the square body Civics, and will be seen again in the Accords in 1996 season. So this kit's out here. This is an original one. Let's see if I can fish the original decals out the bottom here. If you buy an original kit, a lot of people were like, oh, these kits are like $80. They're $70. Well, their decals are all like, eh. This decal sheet probably, in all reality, is perfectly savable, functional. Take this thing, throw it in the window, bleach the yellow back to white, and you're all set in those terms. Before these kits were reissued, I found this kit for like $25, which is why I picked it up. Hasegawa has subsequently reissued this kit. This kit has been reissued, and there's also a set of Shunko replacement decals out here, which is what these are. Personally, I would go buy the reissue of the Hasegawa kit rather than trying to screw around with this, because the one thing that the original kits don't have that the Hasegawa reissues do is the Hasegawa kit, Civics, much like the 3-door Civics, the 318i's, and the AE 101 Corollas, they all have new suspension components to lower the cars down to the actual racing height of the vehicle rather than it being a civilian factory car with decals on it, which is what these cars were like when they came out originally back in the early 1990s. And then you have the guys over at Castrol Mugen. They're back. Mugen back, not with the 100 number, but with this metallic blue. This box art really doesn't show you what the true color is. It's a very nice, silverish blue with the orange mirrors and the orange wheels. So, I mean, hey, why not? There used to be, Decal Pool used to sell a conversions kit for this that was for the 1995 season car with a different front spoiler, different rear spoiler, different wheels, and different decals. I have not seen that around very much lately. I don't believe they make it anymore. So we won't talk about it next video, but it was floating around there. Maybe some on eBay every now and then. People sell off stuff they don't want. But that kit's there. Now the next Civic, because all the Civics pretty much are very closely together number-wise, we're going to have to show you a picture of, because this Civic I did not order when the kit came out. I ordered it more recently, and I haven't shipped it over from Japan yet, and that is the Team Kinomitsu STP Civic. So this is the number 27 car. It's not quite petty blue. It's a little darker than that, but it's definitely got that vibe of the STP global marketing, if you will. So this kit, again, been reissued by Hasegawa. I don't have a heck of a lot else to say about these Civics, because again, I believe a couple of them podiumed here and there throughout the season, being that there were 18 races for them to run in, but none of them actually, again, won anything. So that'll take us back to BMWs as we go down the numbering system here. And that'll go take us over to the guys at Team Take One, who are back with that SOK black security livery with the 318i. This is the most recent 318i reissue. This just came out last year. The other ones came out about 2 years ago at this point. So obviously, getting the permission to run these specific livery was a little more involved in getting. So picture of the model on the side, real car on the box art, although I believe really technically that's a drawing of the real car at this point. So that's available. And then you go on to the guys over at Autotech. They're back. Their banana yellow BMW, their 318i. This was released in 2015, so actually 3 years ago. This is the first of the 318i's that was reissued. So this is the original sort of cat that let everybody out of the bag, if you will. This was the first JTCC car that was reissued. They then reissued several of the other BMWs, starting with the Steven Soper car, and then the British Touring Championship car, and then several other of the JTCC cars. This car has an incredibly easy livery. If you're one of those people that really wants to make a car, really wants to make a JTCC car, and you're really not, man, there's a lot of decaling involved, and come on, it's a little teeny decal sheet. If you can't do this, I hesitate to say that you could decal pretty much anything at that point. No offense intended, but really, it's not a whole heck of a lot there. There are 435s because there is one on each side, one on the hood, and one on the roof. And then all of these are very minor associate sponsorships. I'm not even sure what the red stripes are for. I'm going to look at the decal sheet here. What are those? Those are the number 25 decals, and I don't actually see where we're using 25 decals on this decal sheet. So that may be for, I know, this is thrilling for me to look at a decal sheet while you guys watch me look at a decal sheet, but I'm not even sure what those decals are supposed to be used for. Trying to see if there's anywhere in the assembly instructions where they were like, yo, man, here's what you need them decals for. Now, I have built one of the BMW 318i's. I built the, I don't even know which one it was I built. I think it was one of the British Touring Car Championship cars. I built it as the Gear Race Macau Watson's car. There is a build video, not build video, but a build review of it. My crippling critique of my own work, as it were. And we see here the pictures of the real car on the side. The only thing I would say about these kits, the 318i's especially, is skip the windshield wiper. Now, there is the windshield wiper is prominently up and down in that position right there. But, yeah, to me, it's just not worth the trouble. The way the windshield mates into the body, if you have this windshield wiper on the car, I put mine on the first car, you end up having to have the window unit put in on a slightly cockeyed angle where it sits back too far and you have a gap between the rear window and the roof. If you leave the wiper off, the glass fits in there perfectly because the glass is not, the kit itself is basically just a racing version of the 318i street car. So it's not designed to have that middle windshield wiper just hanging out. It doesn't fit flush, and then you have a gap down into the underneath the hood if you put it in that way. So again, my personal recommendation with that is to skip the windshield wiper. Not every single car ran the car with a windshield wiper pointing like a flagpole. So yeah, just for ease of assembly, don't do that. The other thing I had issues with on this kit was the fact that the wheels, with the new mounting system, really are not particularly fantastic. They are just not quite what you're looking for, as far as I'm concerned. With the way that the wheels mount to the mount to like the struts. Epoxy is your friend. Let's just put it that way. So that's the last of the BMWs that ran that year. Now we go on to the Coronas. And of course, this is the B-Max kit, the Toyota Corona B-Max kit. You can build both team cars with this, both the Sekia car, or Sekia vehicle. Now this car is your winning, they won 3 races during the year. And, 3. And they are your championship car. So this car is the championship car for 1994, which may be why they chose this livery over the Soruna ones, but at the same time, yeah, the Soruna won more. But anyway, you can't build the other car, the Gori Suzuka team car, the number 37, so it's the SO car versus the Zent car. In these kits, the way they are shipped from the factory from BMAX, all of the red is decals. It might be more politic to paint that. Depends on how you feel. And then the last kit that is available for the 1994 season is the most recently released of the Ferios, the one with the brand new livery in it. So this is the I Drive a Civic Ferio with, I'm trying to think what the heck the guy's name is. His last name is Han, obviously, but I just looked at what his first name was, and I forgot already. I wonder if there's a mention of it in the instruction sheet. This car ran one race, the Intertech race in 1994. It only ran the last race. This is also the resurrection of the number 88 we last saw in the Kaiwashu Corporation AE101 Corolla. And we're looking here, and doesn't mention anything about the car here. There's some stuff in English over here talking about the results of where they finished, but it doesn't have Mr. Han's first name. Anyway, Mr. Han is from Germany, which is the whole point of the Intertech race, because you are drawing in drivers from an international basis. This, again, is another fairly simple decal livery. Obviously, no stripes, no nothing like that. Just putting on some numbers and a few associate sponsorships. Obviously, being a one-car deal, not a lot of long-term sponsorship going on involved with that one. And that, guys, is the way these kits are. I would, again, advise you to make sure you test fit this wiper system with these windows before you try to glue it in. My entire Bjorking of my Watson build, which I got super glue on the windows from, is because of trying to get it to fit in there with that stupid windshield wiper. And then I've just been very unhappy with the way it sat entirely. I've actually bought another 318i, other than the ones that I'm building within the series, to redo that car with another set of decals. I used the Watson decals that came from Studio 27. I have Frankie's Watson's decals now, and at some point, when I'm doing, race cars on a more continuous basis, I'm going to take another whack at doing that car again, because I really like the Watson's logos and liveries. And I just managed to do something with my computer there. I accidentally hit a button, my screen got much, much smaller. I'm hoping that doesn't affect the end of this video. If it does, if the video just got much smaller, you're not imagining things. That was me accidentally hitting my right mouse key and doing something there. So anyway, guys, I'm going to wrap this up before hopefully it looks any worse than it already does on my end. We'll see you guys on the other side.